Hello everyone, it's Nick Peters here again, the Gaming Theologian, as we continue through my favorite Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy IV. Let's go to our intro while we... Okay, so last time we were outside of the city of Fabur, which, by the way, little side note here, I think Final Fantasy IV is the game that lets you have the largest party you can have in a Final Fantasy. We got a commenter here saying that this was their first Final Fantasy. It's a great place to start. So, we're going to be going into the city soon, trying to conserve energy, especially around the Gatlingers, which are a far bigger problem in this battle. You're going to keep those confused, because they become our biggest allies at this point. Except for when that happens. Now, I've called this episode Betrayal and Loss. And I hope it'll become apparent in a bit why I did that. I'm not going to come out and say it just yet. Yeah, do remember when I do affirm the virgin birth, and please like, comment, share, subscribe, and if you can support me on Patreon, that would be even better. You know, I don't need any of these items. Really, I don't think I usually buy items in a Final Fantasy game because you get so many from exploration and enemy drops, there just doesn't seem to be much point. But we're going to buy everything we can for Young. And upgrades for Cessor are here also. So let's equip everything. Not you, you. Now I just explore the castle here a little bit. Bacchus's cider, which makes you go berserk, which is fitting. I can't believe I forgot about this. You can rest in a king's bed, which kind of makes me regret spending a little bit of gold at the end, but oh well. Apparently his attendant doesn't mind random people coming in sleeping in his bed. Zeus's wrath, a thunder item. Now, a lot of these items weren't in the original Final Fantasy IV. Young's wife. As far as I know of, Young is the only character in the game in the party who's definitely married. And Young is giving the instructions to prepare for battle. And the king's suspicious of a Dark Knight and his companions. to which Edward steps forward again and clears everything up. And yes, we're help defend. And the ladies will assist with healing for everyone else, so it's only going to be the men of the party fighting. Now, I'm trying to just give you all the gist of the conversations because you don't need me spelling everything out for you, but if you'd like that to change where I actually read everything they say, let me know. And again, if you remember the first time that we had a battle like this take place, what I do here, because the captain will never attack directly. He only gives orders to attack. Oh well. And now that the commandant's gone, yeah, they finished themselves off. Okay, there's just something funny about how that happens to me, like how inept these soldiers are or something. Maybe it's a Japanese honor thing. You know, what I've never understood over this game is no matter how good you do at holding off the enemy forces in the battle, you keep having to forced retreat because, well, the story demands it. In our playthroughs, I think I could keep fighting these guys off all day long. It's pretty simple to beat these guys. Well, I guess we're gonna leave those other soldiers there to die. Who needs them anyway, right? We got the same thing going on again here, so we're going to see how this works. Yeah, I think this time, just since I haven't used it, I'm going to use Edward's heal ability. Because I don't want Edward to start retreating in the middle of battle here. I'm pretty sure it uses up a potion every time, but yeah, it's worth it. Also, if you do things this way, you get more experience from those battles anyway. And here, one of our men unlocks the door. Just auto through this one again. And eventually it's Edward that messes us up. Never like leading the enemy right straight to what they're wanting to get. And here comes Cain. If you don't remember him, he was with us when we left Baron, and he disappeared after the earthquake at Mist, which makes Cecil happy. And Cecil says they have some fighting to do, which Cain says, yes, pretty much against one another. Now, as far as I know, there's no way to win this fight, even though your character is doing more damage than Kane's is. And Kane seems very surprised to see Rosa and trying to deny what's happened. Why do you hesitate, Kane? Gobaz has one of the best themes. Gobaz clad in darkness. Well, introductions are done now. Never hesitate to cure Kane. See how it's done. And now Gobez decides to capture Rosa, which the one who said never hesitate to cure leaves his opponents alive. Try and figure that one out. Cure! Christopher and Rosa are gone. And Lydia says you have to go help her and get them back. And Edward has changed now, saying, yep, no time for moping. And this is why I call the episode, the first part, Betrayal. Because many of us have felt this kind of betrayal before. I'm divorced. I know about betrayal firsthand. And it's a pain that eats away every day. To quote the movie The Matrix, it's the splinter in your mind driving you mad. And from scripture, let's see if Young's wife has anything to say here. From scripture, we know Jesus himself was betrayed by one of his disciples, one of the people who he trusted so much. And we know this because he let Judas have the money bag and put him in charge of a treasury, though Judas stole from it from time to time. But he was in a position of trust, such that even at the Last Supper, there doesn't seem to be any suspicion by part of anyone on Judas. And everyone seems surprised, except for Jesus, when Judas betrays him. And now the discussion is that they're going to go and conquer Babylon by sea, and we're going to ask the king for a ship, and discussion about who Cain is. Now, some people could also ask, how is it in... Oh yeah, the king's going to give Sisera a dark sword that belonged to a dark knight from years ago, but it's a weapon of darkness. It can never prevail over true evil, so it can't beat Gobez. But it's more powerful than what we've got. And if Gobez gets all the crystals, which he has 3 now, the world will be thrust into an unprecedented crisis. He has 3, there is 1 more to get. The Deathbringer sword. There's a name for it, yeah. Now, some might wonder, how could someone betray Jesus? That's a good question. Here's another one to ask. How come we betray Jesus? You ask, what are you talking about? Well, I think we all sin every day. And that's a betrayal of Jesus. I have a saying that all sin is really divine treason. It's wishing God was dead inadvertently and that you were on the throne. And every single one of those sins is what led Jesus to the cross. I know someone who takes the saying that we often say that if you were the only one, Jesus would have come for you. And I hear him say, yes, he would have. And if you were the only one, you would have killed him. If you think you wouldn't, yeah, that makes it more likely you probably would. Oh, now we're on ship. The plan is to meet Sid once they're in there and see if he can help. And, well, this voyage isn't going well. All the sailors are stunned. The rule of the deep. Leviathan. Yeah, you're not going to win a boss fight against this guy. Way too big. Change course. Young goes in after her. Edward gets injured. And the ship dragged into a whirlpool. So what happens now? Cecil wakes up on a shore somewhere. The boat's destroyed. Calling all his friends. And no one is there. Hence loneliness. You go into this town, Mysidia. Fortunately, you can talk to him again and he'll turn you right back. But the townspeople here, they're not very happy to see you. I can't imagine why. Although they will take your money at least, so there's that. Need to sell some things here. Dwarven bread is essentially useless in this game. You only need one of these. Don't need any more of that. That. Won't need that. Won't need that. Won't need that anymore. It's very nice they de-equip everything from everyone else when they're done with it. So what we're going to do... I'm going to be grinding around here some because we're going to need some more equipment before we set out. I'm not going to show everyone in the town getting mad at you, and some of them will poison you, some will turn you into a pig. Everything. This town hates Cesar for what he did. And no, I can't blame him, but now you have to go see the elder at least. And he wants to know why you're returning. You introduce yourself, say the former commander of Red Wings, and you didn't have the courage to go against the king's orders. Words will not bring back our dead, but the elder sees you changed. So maybe he will hear what you have to say. And Cecil talks about fighting Gobez, and that they were attacked by Leviathan. And the elder says this might be a test, and you must prove yourself worthy. But it can't be done with a dark sword. It only lead to the darkening of your soul. And so you must head to Mount Ordeals in the east. The dark sword must be transformed into one of light to become a paladin. Paladin, paladin, where do you roam? And since the elder doesn't want you to go alone, he has two mages accompany you. Palam and Param, or however their names are pronounced. You know, described as a girl, whereas Palam, boy. Mesidius prodigy Palam will assist you. Palam is not very known for his humility. Their apprentices, they should be of great help. And Param is kind of a Miss Manners type. Now, you notice these are identified as boy and girl. From what I've seen, heard before, I haven't had a chance to verify this, but the accounts I've heard indicate that they're both 5 years old. Oh yeah, better keep an eye on these kids. So we're going to grind a bit and earn some money. But I wanted to talk about loneliness with this too, because we're going to be doing this until 9. Plan to be right around 9 my time, which is the top of the hour. Palom's bluff increases his magic ability. And the cry, I think it lowers her magic defense. The next battle, I'll show you what they can really do together. Provided it's one I think needs to be done. That's just the healing rod. I understand if you bluff 3 times with Palom, in a battle, he becomes a major powerhouse. Loneliness is a reality after a divorce. I remember referencing that scene with Cesar. Okay, twin cast, which can be done when those two are together, in describing what it's like, because when you lose a marriage, you also lose your social circle, as it were. You lose the people you would have been regularly interacting with, to an extent. Not everyone, but it used to be you went out as a couple, and when you were out, you interacted with other couples. And now that no longer goes on. One of my big problems with being divorced is the loneliness. Now, it's not to say that I'm a socialite or anything. I'm not. But even people who aren't really social still have times when they like having someone around. When they like knowing it's not just them. If I go to a social situation, many times I am incredibly out of place, because I don't understand how all these other people are interacting socially and what's expected. The rules of society are very much difficult to follow when you're on the spectrum. And I don't really care for the Christianese talk, as I call it a lot of times, because you see people where they say, "Oh, it's so good to see you," and I'm thinking, is that why you never come and check on me outside of seeing me? You never ask me to come over, never try to get together, never anything like that? Or especially when we call each other brother. Like, no, if you're gonna call me a brother, treat me like a brother. Loneliness is also something that affects people in our society who are not just divorced, but widows as well. And in Scripture, we're told to keep a special care for widows. But the difference with widows, I think, though, is that widows, it's often thought, well, yes, their spouse died, and that's a tragedy, but it happens eventually. But when it comes to divorce, it can be thought, oh, well, you must have done something wrong. I'm a member of a Baptist church, and sadly, in too many Baptist circles, divorce can be treated as the unforgivable sin, when it should not be treated that way at all. Now, I'm not saying all divorces are done for bad reasons, but all of them are not done for good reasons either. There are valid grounds for divorce, And we should always consider how we're treating the innocent party in a divorce. And yes, in my case, I was the innocent party. And too many times when I come home at the end of a day, it's just me. And that's pretty difficult to deal with at times. Like I said, I'm an introvert. I prefer being by myself to an extent. But there's times company can be nice. I've also said I don't like to be touched unless you get my permission first. But there are times I really miss touch. And it's especially the touch of a good lady. My ex-wife's touch could do so much to motivate me, to calm me down, any number of things. You know, ladies, I saw a video with someone asking her husband about 3 things he would like, and she dismissed everything he said. And the second thing he said is, he said, "I'd just like a hug." 'Cause when your husband tells you he likes touch, you might think he means something explicitly sexual. He's not going to deny he likes that. But many times, what he simply means is just some contact of some kind. That can be enough. It doesn't have to be anything huge. That can mean so much to a man. You don't need to discount it. You know, the Bible says that we are to be a community of people. Some people like community a lot more, some don't, and that's fine. But we all need community to some extent. We don't need to deny that. Now, some of you might think, geez, Nick, you're going through Cecil's hit points so much with that attack. Yeah, there's an easy way to refill his hit points around here. And I'm going to stay here actually, even if it's a bit longer, until I get all the gold I need. This is a trick I use in these games. Cure. Heal everyone up to the max. MP restored. In other words, this is like a free in, right there. So, anyway, what I was saying was that if you know someone who's divorced, really speak to them out of concern. I've made it my point to help men who are going through divorce. And when I ask them about things, I really mean to ask and check on them and make sure everything's okay with them. And that can mean so much because I had someone who did that for me. And it was a great help to me. And I wanted to do that for other people. Because men especially can think no one cares about them at that point. Because, hey, we're men. We're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to not wear our emotions on our sleeve and anything like that. We may be men, but we're not stoic. We may not be primarily emotional in many cases, but it doesn't mean we don't have them. And we can struggle. Divorce is a lonely path because it's kind of like you've been murdered, in a sense. To which I say yes. Yes, you have been. You were with someone that you were one flesh with, and now you're no more. Everything has changed when you go through a divorce. It's a great evil in our church. I just recently read a book on no-fault divorce, which brought home to me how easy divorce has become and what a problem that is. Because if one partner in a relationship wants a divorce, well, that's it. There's no stopping it. And the state doesn't care about the innocent party. Nothing's done for them. To which I've said, imagine if we lived in a system where you could enter a business contract with someone else, you both agree to a contract, but the moment one of you wants out, and you don't even need evidence or valid reason or anything, the state takes the side of the person who wants to break the contract. How many of us would make contracts in that society? It'd be extremely foolish to do so. And I think marriage is more than a contract, it's a covenant. But it is the closest parallel I can come up with because I want men, especially, to get married and raise families. I want that for myself again someday. But if I ask why men should do that today, what about all the risk? I'm hard pressed to come up with a response to that. Because the risk is that high. And it's especially higher for men because men are usually the ones that wind up paying alimony and or child support. Knowing that, most divorces are filed by women as well. Certainly wasn't my case. Churches, we need to restore marriage again. And we need to be doing everything we can to build up marriages. And if you have people in your church who are looking to marry, and I don't just mean couples in church are dating one another, I mean people who are single and looking, help them. Help them find someone. And sometimes it could just be men are much more at risk approaching women and asking them out today because you'll easily be labeled as a creep or anything else if a woman is not interested in you. We need something to clear the hurdles out of the way so that we can restore marriage again. And once we have marriage again, we must be building up those marriages. This is not just an option anymore. This is a mandatory. marriage must be celebrated by the church and built up. And as I read in the book that I was telling you about, if the state's not helping people who have been divorced, the church should be. Because we make it seem like the church is just the place where a couple is getting married, and after that, where the church's work is done. And that's a horrible way to look at things. Our work is not done just when we get the couple to say, I do. No, it's really just beginning at that point. Okay, I'm going to stay on just a little bit longer tonight. What am I doing? This is how the chocobo works. No enemy encounters when you use a chocobo. I can sell these now. I can sell these. I can sell this. And this. And all of these. And this. Okay, I'm going to get up enough to buy one more wizard hat. Sometimes we get the accusation that when it comes to the pro-life community, that all we care about is making sure the babies are born, and then we're done. It's not true, of course. We run a lot of pregnancy crisis centers and provide a lot of help for couples in need. We can always do more, but I think if there's an area we definitely need to improve on, it's building up marriages, helping couples who are divorced, and preventing divorces from taking place. One question I usually encourage couples to think about is to say, what do you two know that's going to make sure you're not the next couple to get divorced? I want couples to really think about that. Because what are you going to say? Say, oh, well, we have so much love for each other. We're good for you, good for you. So says every single couple on their wedding day. You're nothing new. Now, one of the problems we have is sometimes we do idolize or ever idealize marriage, which is a nope. There's going to be cold realities of marriage. When Cinderella went to bed with Prince Charming one night, he had bad gas. He woke up the next day, and she did not look as beautiful as she did when she went to bed that night. There were probably times Cinderella called her wicked stepmother and said, "He's so crazy, can I please come back?" No, marriage is for the long haul, and we need to keep it that way. Build it up. Because marriage is the future of our civilization. We need children. And we need strong marriages for those children. Children need mothers and fathers. And ideally, they need their biological mothers and fathers. Because no one's going to care for them as much, generally, as the biological parents. Yes, I realize there are exceptions. There are great step-parents. Thank God for them. But we need biological parents to be the best they can be. Well, next time we're going to climb Mount Ordeers. We'll see how that goes. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Please support me on Patreon. Everything you can